Hello everybody, I'm starting my own little YouTube thing. Just wanted to give a little introduction video. This is my white cloud minnow tank. It's about 4 weeks old, maybe 6 weeks old, something like that. I have 15 white cloud minnows in there. They are very, very happy. I just added this piece of spider wood. A few days ago I let it float for a while, and then I anchored it down yesterday. Well, really just kind of oriented it. I had to clip off one of the branches. You can see the cutting right there. And the branch itself is sticking up right there. I just kind of stabbed it into the ground. The illusion is intact. It looks like it could be part of it. Pardon the ugly yellow sponge filter. I'm hoping to breed these guys. And if they do end up breeding, then I didn't want their babies to get sucked into the intake on the filter. I have just an old Tetra hob, and I've taken out a lot of the floating plants. Just have a lot of miniature water lettuce, some regular water lettuce. There was frog bit in here. I think there might still be 1 or 2 frog bits someplace in there. And there's a fair amount of duckweed in between everything, or at least some duckweed. I love floaters. I think the floating plants are really, really cool. So this is just a standard 10-gallon from Aqueon. I added the sponge filter because at one point all of the floating plants were covering the surface, and that was making it, I don't know, I felt like I needed a little bit more oxygenation in the water. So I added the sponge filter. I leave it on pretty low because its main purpose isn't filtration necessarily. That's just an added benefit. Just add some more surface area for the beneficial bacteria, the nitrosomas and nitrobacter. So yeah, this is my white cloud minnows. I have a lot of snails in there, quite a few actually. You can see them on the glass there in the front. I did not intend to have bladder snails in here. I had ram's horn initially. If I can get it to focus on this ram's horn. Have it focus on my hand maybe? It has to switch back to autofocus. This is a 4-year-old phone at this point, almost 3 years old, something like that. Anyway, so I have bladder snails. There's a ram's horn right there. Initially that was all I had, and then I somehow managed to get an explosion of bladder snails. They must have come in with a floating plant, perhaps? I'm not sure. Let's see if I can get it to refocus. Yeah, it's gonna do whatever it wants. Bladder snails came in with a floating plant of some kind and just absolutely exploded in population. They're all over in there. So I picked up a African dwarf frog, and I plan on adding him in here at some point because he loves to eat bladder snails. I have him in one of my other tanks. I have 5 tanks up right now, including my quarantine. And I will show them in future videos, but I wanted to introduce you to my white cloud minnow tank. I'm a huge fan of pearlweed. You'll find that I have some pearlweed in almost every single one of my tanks. Because I'm still letting this one grow in, I have not performed a single trimming on the pearlweed yet. I plan on trimming it down when the time comes. For now, I'm just letting it grow in however it wants. Even got some growing inside of my filter there. I have a hair algae situation in the back there. Some kind of filamentous algae. I am not 100% sure how I want to approach that yet. I have a flagfish on the way. They love to eat hair algae. So I've found through research anyway, I've never owned a flagfish. So I am going to introduce it in here, see how bad it bullies the white cloud minnows. And if it's too bad, I will remove it, and we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. I don't know what's going on down here, but we've got a couple of snails piggybacking on each other. Are they mating? I don't know. Legitimately have no idea what they're doing. I see that from time to time, so I think they're mating. Could be. At one point, one will shake off the other one. Less interested in mating snails, though I will not complain about it, because I'm happy to have more snails to help clear up the glass a little bit. White cloud minnows are what I'd prefer to mate or spawn. They're just a very fascinating fish. They're very pretty, and they just are so much fun to watch. I purchased them on a whim. I went to the local pet shop, Animal Ark, and I wanted to pick up some Corridoras, some Stareby Corridoras, or perhaps some Ember Tetras, or even Cardinal Tetras if they had any. Those are really rare in local pet shops. They tend to go quickly when they do come. But they didn't have any, and I was itching to spend money on fish, so I picked up 16 of these white cloud minnows. I ended up losing one at one point. Have 15 in here. I have seen them spawn in here, but I know I've seen them spawn because I saw them doing the dance down in the bushes, actually down here in this corner right here. And I saw eggs. If I remember, I will attach a picture of the eggs. If I can remember and edit this video. But I have not seen it since in quite some time. You see the males flexing at each other every now and then. Well, there's a male and a female in the back corner there, trying to do something. Can't really see because of the cholla. Yeah, they are spawning in that back corner. If I can get the camera to view back there. I'm trying to spawn anyway. yeah, so I could end up with some babies. I know that white cloud minnows, mountain minnows, like to spawn after they detect a change in the weather, as well as a temperature change. Yesterday was quite rainy, so this morning I closed the curtains here in my office, my fish room, and left them closed until I came up for work, because I work here. You probably saw my screen and part of the video at some point, I'm sure, in my messy office. Anyway, so I closed the curtains, and I added a little bit of ice to the hang-on pack just to simulate colder weather or colder water running downstream. It didn't cause the spawning that I had hoped. I probably needed to add the cold water yesterday. You can see my other tank right there on the side with more pearlweed. I'll introduce that next time. But anyway, so I added some ice to the filter so that it would kind of create a colder current coming out of the filter. I didn't see any major spawning happening this morning, but I mean, I work in here, so I've been focused on that and haven't been watching as much, but I do see occasional spawning behavior in here. So I think it would be super cool to get a few more of these guys, maybe put them in some of my other tanks or take them to the pet shop or list them on Marketplace or something, classifieds. And or I have an outdoor pond that they would do fantastic in, because these are pretty hardy fish that can survive lots of temperature variance. Even though they prefer a cooler temperature, they can go up into the 80s and be just fine. It is not their preference, but they will be just fine, and they would be great for controlling mosquitoes and the like. Anyway, I don't expect anyone will see this video because it's the first video on a new channel, but if you do see it, be sure to like and subscribe, and comment below any comments or questions, thoughts. Very happy to have you here, and I will upload some more at some point.